Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children.
I really like the illustration that he used of quicksand, because everybody knows what quicksand is, what happens when you stand in it. And if you think about a person that's sinking in quicksand, you need somebody to reach down to help pull you up. So when you think about what's happening with our nation, with all the injustice, we as Christ followers needs to be the one to reach down and pick this nation up.
As individuals in the church, how can we love our neighbor? Well, first we have to understand our neighbor, and that takes time. We have to understand our own culture and what we bring to the table, and then be willing to sacrifice that comfortability in order to be an ear or lend a hand. So,
you know, we all come from a different lens. We all have an understanding. And as hard as it is to kind of put aside what it is that, you know, whatever background or understanding you have, to just take some time and understand things from somebody else's perspective. And do it in a loving way. And you don't always have to agree with them, but at least try to understand.
Well, first of all, you know, Jesus Christ gave us the Great Commission to go forth and make disciples of all nations. And he also said for us to teach those so they obey all Jesus' commands. If we're supposed to obey all his commands, he says the greatest command is to love God. The second greatest command is to love thy neighbor. He doesn't say love thy black neighbor or love thy white neighbor or love thy red neighbor. He says love your neighbor. And so I think as Christians, you know, we've been giving our marching orders, and so I think we should take a lead role in lifting us out of that quicksand of injustice.
I think in the church we can do things in small ways to show the love of the body and to show unity. And then if there is a cause like the Black Lives Movement, should we do things then in unity together? Or should we sit down and listen and not say, oh, it's their problem, but own it together and walk through it together?
We're called to act as Christians. A lot of times you may think, well, oh, it's not happening to me, I'm fine, I don't need to get involved in this, but we can't do that. If it's happening to them, it's happening. If it's happening to that person, it's happening to all of us.
You know, this is an oversimplification, but it really resonates. Mandisa has got a song that we all bleed the same, and Christ bled for all of us. So when I think about looking at it from a Christian perspective, you know, we are all covered by the blood of Christ, those of us who are followers of him. And if we all bleed the same and it's his blood that covered us, then we just need to understand each other. And we can't understand if we don't listen with an open heart.
I think the role of a Christ follower in doing that would be like standing out and being set apart from the world and just showing love instead of hate, and like not hating and just forgiving others even when they don't think they should be forgiven, because that's what Christ did for us. And it's just, once we do that, people will see that we serve a God who is really amazing and who is different from all the other gods.